Well, hello, everybody. Uh, Thank you for coming to this celebration of men. This event is created by men for men to amplify, uplift, support, encourage, and reflect on men through photography, food, music, and discussions. Our program is presenting one of our local artists here in Nashville, who is a great friend of the Jefferson Street Sound Museum, Mr. Greg Johnson. And Mr. Johnson's work is scattered throughout the room. And he has been a supporter of the Jefferson Street Sound Museum for a little over a year now. And we've become very good friends. He is a very positive man, and I've seen him speak with different young men in different settings here at the museum. And we want to bring Brother Greg up and let him speak to us, and some of the men is who we're really trying to reach now. We're trying to reach everybody, but we really is trying to reach the young men here in the city. So Brother Greg, would you come up?
Hello, everybody. First of all, let me give honor to God, who's the head of my life. And thanks to Lorenzo and Karen for putting this on. It's really great. You're great friends now and everything. My name is Greg Johnson, and I'm a photographer, and my speech is on capturing the soul of black men. First of all, I guess I'll tell you how I got started in photography. Well, I was stationed in the Army. When I went to Germany, I figured, I might as well buy myself and take some pictures. And it just so happened that there was a dark room next to where I was living. And so I spent all my time in there, learning about photography, how to develop pictures and everything. And it came a time when they needed a photographer for the battalion, and they told me they were firing everybody. So I'm like, well, if they're firing everybody, then I might as well apply for the job. So when I went to the headquarters, I ran into the sergeant, and he took me into the room. I went in there. It's about the size of this room here, and they had brand new equipment everywhere. And I'm like, oh, brand new equipment. He said, you know how to run this stuff? I'm like, yeah. He said, you got the job. Here's the keys. I'm like, okay, fine. So that's how I got started. So I was a battalion photographer. I traveled all over Germany taking pictures. I have some work in the Stars and Stripes. I did this one photography thing where I went to Dachau, the concentration camp, and that really affected me a lot. And the pictures, I sent that to the Stars and Stripes, and they printed that and told my story and everything about that. So that kind of got me started. And so coming here to Nashville, like Lorenzo said, sometime last year I came here and met them and started doing photography for them. And Karen told me that she wanted to do this celebration of men. And so I said, well, let me get my camera out and start taking some pictures. And so the focus being on the soul of black men, I want to start with this one of John Lewis. And you can see John Lewis, he's all fired up. Now, when I went, this was happening down at the Martin Luther King school down there. And so when I got there, of course, if you have a camera, I've learned that if you have a camera, you can just about go anywhere you want to go with the camera and get in anywhere. So I got in, they said, oh, you're a photographer, come up front. and John Lewis is standing right there on stage, and he gives me I'm like, okay, cool. And so he starts talking, and I mean, he just gets fired up. And so I'm sitting there, standing there, taking this picture, and I just love it because of the energy that he had. So that's capturing the soul. And then, last year, I think it was, the Justins, you know, they were down on the Bicentennial Mall and everything, talking about what they had to talk about and everything, and I was taking pictures of them. I even marched in the march that they had. They put me right up front for some reason. I'm like, okay, fine. You know, I didn't want to be up front. But anyway, so I took a bunch of pictures of him when he's on stage and everything, but I like this one because, as you can see, both the Justins are talking to this woman here, addressing her concern. But we were marching into the Capitol, but they stopped to talk to this woman about her concerns, which I thought was great. So that's why I used this one. I really like that photo of them. And so one day I was driving down Jefferson Street, and whenever I see the car parked in the lot here, I say, well, let me go and see what they're doing. You know? And so I came in here, and they were eating. I said, okay, fine. And so Karen told me, she said, well, why don't you go down to the barber shop and take some pictures down there? I'm like, okay. And so I went down to the barber shop, and I just hung out with them. I was hanging out, and I was taking a bunch of pictures, and I was waiting for them to finish cutting hair, so I could get them all together, so I could get a group shot of them instead of just individual shots. And so when they were finally done, 3 barbers, I said, let's get a group shot. They said, well, we can't get one now. And I'm like, why not? Because we got another guy coming. I'm like, oh my God, I didn't spend all this time in here, you know, which I didn't mind because it was, you know, entertaining. And so I said, okay, they come back at 5. It was about 3 o'clock. So they said, come back at 5. So I said, okay, fine, I'll come back at 5. And so what I did, I went down to the Kingdom Hall place where these guys were cooking this food, because Karen told me about that. That's what they were eating. Let me see, where is that? Oh, there it is. That one right there. And so what happened with that one, I went in there, and the guy to our left, he introduced himself and everything. He said, oh, what do you want to eat? I said, I don't want to eat anything. I just want to take y'all a picture. And so I started taking pictures. Now the guy on the other end, on the right, he said, I don't want to take any pictures. I don't want to take any pictures. I'm not going to do this. So I said, okay, fine. So I took the other 3 guys' pictures, and when he saw that, that's when he came in, because he wanted to be part of it. I'm like, okay, fine, bam. And so I got that, and I like that picture right there too. I think it's pretty cool. And so, yeah, it's all about getting a rapport with people, you know, talking to folks when you're photographing them, getting them know them a little bit, even if you're not going to spend very much time with them. You know, you got to be easy and, you know, find out something about them. And that's what I try to do with all of these pictures. Now here's the one here. I'll show you the barber. So I had to use one. So I decided to use this one because, as you can see, the care that he's taken into cutting this guy's beard. And plus I got the light right. It's very, very hard to get pictures right with lots of lights and lots of mirrors. Lots of light and lots of mirrors will ruin a photography. But this turned out good, so I like it. So, and as you can see, there's other ones. There's the Sahlberg studio there. And what happened with that, that's a computer center down the street here on Jefferson. But part of the venue, they have this music outlet where people come in and play music. And so I wanted to take the pictures of the computer guys. They said, well, come back Monday and we'll do it. I said, okay, fine, I'll come back Monday. So I came back the next day, And I was waiting for them to come in, but they never did show up. But these musicians were coming in here. I'm like, okay, this is probably what I was called in here to do, take their picture. So I took that one. And again, taking pictures in a dark atmosphere, you really have to know what you're doing. And I like the way that one turned out too. And so, what else we have here? Oh, Cornell West. Cornell West over here. I was doing a job, when I first came to Nashville, I was working for Miss Perry, which has a paper down the street. And I met a lady named Rhea Kennard, and she asked me if I go to UT to take some pictures of Cornell West. I'm like, yeah, Cornell West. And so I got there, and Cornell West is another one that's really fiery. I mean, when he's on the stage, and I was snapping pictures of him on the stage, and I'm like, no, this is not really turning out the way I wanted to. So at the end of the show, Rhea introduced me to him. We actually became friends. The guy on our right here, that's his brother, and the guy with the hat on is his best friend. And so I took my backdrop with me, so I set up my backdrop and snapped that one, wham. And Cornell West is just friends with everybody. I mean, he's easy to get along with. So that was great. And then we have the Army guy. Now, what happened there, I taught spin class, indoor cycling class, since 2004. But when COVID hit, I didn't want to teach anymore because I didn't want to be in a room with the folks. So I decided to volunteer for the COVID Center. So I worked for the COVID Center for 3 years. So if you went into the Nissan Stadium, you probably saw me or heard my music because I played my music loud while the traffic was coming in. But anyway, the National Guard worked with us, and because I'm a photographer, they allowed me to take some pictures. I just wasn't allowed to take pictures of the people who were getting the patients or the license plate, so that was cool. So I have a whole set of pictures about the COVID. I'm just ready to display them, but I don't think people are quite ready for it yet because I've already asked. People haven't gotten over COVID yet, so. But the National Guard really helped us out, and that's him getting information from a customer. And now the picture next to that, I took that here in that other room down there. And as a matter of fact, I was doing a job for Lorenzo and Karen. And as I was walking out, I was about to walk out the door, I was leaving, and I just happened to see that guy pouring Skittles into that little girl's hand. And,
That's my granddaughter.
oh, that's your granddaughter? I had no idea. And I was like, oh my gosh. So I had my camera right with me. I'm like, wham. And so part of capturing the soul of men or anybody is just being in the right place at the right time. And you don't necessarily have to let them know that you're there. Like that. I mean, that's, to me, so much gentleness and just, I mean, it just makes me feel good to see that big guy, and he's a big guy.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And she's a little tiny girl, but her hand is in his hand, and it's just the gentleness, the touch. I love that photo.
He's one of our deacons at the church.
Oh, is he?
Yeah.
Okay. He's a very nice man too.
Yeah.
Now, when Karen asked me to do this, I was thinking, well, who am I going to photograph? Where am I going to go? So it just so happens that I work at Meharry now as a standardized patient, and if you don't know what that is, I act like a patient so medical students can examine me And that's a lot of fun because I give them a hard time. And I like giving them a hard time. But anyway, those are the two med fellows that work there. They kind of run the place. And so I said, well, let me start with them. And so that was actually the first picture I took for this specific exhibit. And behind them is just the words, Meharry's, thing. And so that was great. And so what else here? Oh, hold on. Yeah, so we got the guy that you're all familiar with. He's called the mailman. So my mailman, I ride a bike. So after COVID, and I wasn't teaching spin class anymore, I was able to ride my bike whenever I wanted to, which was good. So I was on my bike, riding it. And I keep a little camera with me, that little one that you see me with there. And so I saw the mailman in my neighborhood. So I stopped, I said, hey, dude, let me take your picture for the show that I'm doing. He said, no, man, don't take my picture now because, I don't look right. I'm gonna get my hair done next week. So, go to the barbershop next week. So do it then. I'm like, well, this is not gonna happen. So I'm not thinking it's gonna happen. So the next week came, again, I'm riding my bike. I get back home and he's in the neighborhood. So I rush in the house, get my camera, I can't take your picture now, man. He's like, yeah, sure. And so we stopped at the neighbor's house. I told him to get out of his car because I wanted to get the truck in here. And so I took this one, which is pretty nice, I think. And as you can see, it was a hot day because they work, sunshine and rain and snow. And that's their job. And you can see by the look on his face that he's really serious about his job. And that's the other thing. As you look around, you can see that the people, they're really into what they're doing.
Passion.
Yeah, the passion. So let me put this on that. And I think we have one more here. Hold on a second. Oh, yeah. So, after I went to the barbershop, then I went to Kingdom Hall to get those guys. I said, well, there's a fire station down the street. Surely there's a black fireman in there. Yeah. So now when I get to this place, I walk in, he's not here. He's in the back room playing a computer game because, they don't have anything to do when there's not a fire. And so he was playing this game. And the other guy, I don't know, I think he was Mexican or something. And so I was saying, well, I'm here to take some pictures. I got to get a picture of a fireman, blah, 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 blah. And he said, well, and he just turned around and said, yeah, okay, you can get me. But he's still playing this game. He said, wait till I finish because I got to get the high player on this game. And I know how that is because I play video games. And I used to play them a lot more, not as much anymore. But I would stay up all night playing Unreal Tournament and Quake and Call of Duty. So I know what it's like to be high player for a game. And he got the high player of the game. So I got some pictures of him doing that. So I said, well, I got to get some pictures of him in front of this truck. I said, where you want me? I said, sit in front of the truck. So he's a really happy guy. But I noticed when I told him to sit in front of the truck, you could see he got really serious. I mean, he was smiling and happy the whole time. Then he sat down here and he got really serious. Because, it's what he does. He's a fireman, and he's serious.
I want to tell you one thing about this fire truck, engine number 11.
Yeah.
Engine number 11 was the first black fire station on Jefferson Street in the immediate South.
Oh.
We had one of the first black fire stations, and it was station number 11.
I had no idea.
11 was on the fire engine. And so this is a piece of history here.
Yeah.
I think we've got a picture of that fire hall somewhere in here. It's not hung up,
Oh,
but that's a very significant piece of history here in the North Nashville community.
see, and that's what happens when you're led by God. Because I had no idea. I just found this out. Yeah. So I'm like, let me go down there and take a picture. I know there's a black fireman. Uh-huh. Yeah. And so, now let me put this one back. Now hold on a second. Forgive me, I'm a little clumsy. That's okay. So, now, does anybody have any questions? Or want to ask me something? Or maybe interested in photography? Because it's a lot of fun.
I have a question. How can you purchase copies of the pictures?
Oh, but just see me. If you want one of these, $500 for any one of these and those two, but $2,000 for that one, or Cornell West. So if you want a picture, that's fine.
All those autographs?
Yes, they're all signed. And the Cornell West and the John Lewis are like exclusive because I have I know I have another 11 by 14 or something like that because my computer died and I lost a bunch of pictures. Unbelievable. But, so that's why, those two are going for that much. And plus, you guys already have one, and it was like, we got to keep the price up. Yeah. But, yeah, I do a lot of work around here for myself just because I like to photograph and for other people too. Oh, thank you. Yeah, and if any of you are interested in photography, just buy yourself a camera and get started. You'll meet a lot of people, have a lot of fun, travel a lot of places. Any other questions? Okay. Thank you.
Thank you. I've got something here that I want to present to you. The Jefferson Street Sound Museum. The founder of the Jefferson Street Sound Museum recognizes your participation in celebration of men. This certificate of appreciation is presented to you, Greg Johnson.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
So that is this presentation. We've got another one at 2 o'clock.